Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give at this hearing is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
For Donald Trump, it was the witch hunt of the century, while Democrats and his opponents believe the Mueller report would signal the beginning of the end of his presidency. The reality of the 448-page report was far less clear-cut, the special counsel finding no collusion between Trump's campaign and Russia, but unable to clear the president for obstruction of justice.
The Mueller report was a crashing disaster. It was unreadable. It was written in legalese. It was over 400 pages long. It took no stand on anything despite all the damning evidence that it amassed. But instead of a mountain, he produced a molehill.
However, Trump's victory lap was cut short by a whistleblower. Suddenly, Trump was facing impeachment after the contents of a phone call revealed he'd asked Ukraine's president to investigate his political rival, Joe Biden.
Once that transcript of that call came out, impeachment was, or at least an inquiry, was inevitable, and it was all gratuitously brought down on Trump by himself.
Trump denied any wrongdoing, defending his July phone call as perfect. But for House Speaker Democrat Nancy Pelosi, it was a step too far. And for only the fourth time in history, a US president was the subject of an impeachment investigation.
I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry.
Democrats moved fast. Hours of public testimony followed, during which Republicans united in solid defense of Trump, just as Democrats called out what they saw as his gross abuse of office.
There is nothing more dangerous than an unethical president who believes they are above the law.
The Democrats alleging the president used his public office for personal and political gain by withholding nearly $400 million of aid to Ukraine in return for an investigation into Joe Biden, a potential opponent for Trump in the next US election. Acquitted or removed, ultimately Congress will decide. Trump's political future now rests in the US Senate, where his impeachment trial will be heard and where the Republican majority is expected to acquit America's 45th president. Impeachment aside, Democrats are determined to topple Trump at the ballot box, with over a dozen candidates still in the race to be the party nominee for the November election.
I promise you, we're going to win this race. We're going to beat Donald Trump.
They've been campaigning and debating for more than 6 months, but voters are still split over whether there's a Democrat strong enough to deny Trump another 4 years in power.
The biggest thing for Democrats right now is who can win. Are they going to go in a liberal direction, or are they going to go with a moderate candidate who could potentially peel back some of these voters that President Trump won in places like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania?
Trump, while attacking his potential Democrat opponents, has been encouraging Americans to focus on 12 months of record-setting stock market numbers and surging job figures. But not everyone is convinced by Trump's strong economy claims.
What they don't realize is the economy is actually not good. The growth numbers are okay, but we're borrowing $1 trillion a year in order to get $400 billion a year in growth, which is catastrophic. And you can't have zero interest rates while saying your economy is great forever either.
It was also a year gripped by the uncertainty of the US-China trade war. More tariffs and counter-tariffs were unleashed as the sides struggled for meaningful breakthroughs. Trump's message to rural America hardest hit by the dispute was consistent: short-term pain for long-term gain.
If I have to take a little hit to help solve this problem, I'm willing to do that. I think it's in the best interest of our country, and that'll be in the best interest of my farm and my family down the road.
The president knows a convincing deal in an election year would be a major policy win.
It doesn't matter where the economy is in September, October. It's where it is in that first part of the year, and hence how people's expectations or feelings about the economy are formed at that period of time. So the election moves him to having to get a deal.
A trade war, an impeachment trial, and a US election. 2020 is set to be a blockbuster year. Kevin McAleese, SABC News, Washington.